Ilia Topuria's coach caused big talks amongst the MMA community by saying that Ilia Topuria is walking around at Izzy's 2021 walk-around weight, walking around 190, and he's saying that he's going to make a permanent move up to lightweight, wants to vacate the belt. I feel like people didn't even know Topuria had a coach before this, but honestly, he came out and said all this, and it's got people talking really crazy about like, oh, if Topuria moves up, he's going to fight Oliveira, Makhachev, what are you going to do about Volk and the lightweight division and Lopez and all this shit, dude, and it's a lot right now, so it got me thinking, it got me brewing, like, let's talk right now today about the pros and the cons of Ilia Topuria moving up to lightweight. Ilia Topuria might. Who knows how accurate him walking around at 190 really is, because, like, look, Topuria, he's a big featherweight for sure, he's got the size, he's got the mass, for a 145er at least, I know he's not that fucking tall, but he's built, and the thing is, walking around at 190 though, man, I mean, I would assume that's kind of what, like, Makhachev even walks around at, you know, even that might even be a little bit too much. So I know that Topuria could be a bit of a yapper, a bit of a goofy goofball in the chromosomes, you know what I'm saying? And who knows, maybe his coach is built the same fucking way, but so who knows how accurate it is at the end of the day. But honestly, I understand where Ilia Topuria is coming from, okay? I would say that him doing all the shit he's doing, vacating the belt and blah blah blah, like, yeah, I don't agree that the Volk fight is that exciting. I don't think it's a big draw, and I understand that it's not great to get motivated for. Like, you already smoked the dude in 2 rounds, you know it's not going to do anything for your legacy, and this is a guy, Ilia Topuria, who's 27 right now, okay, wants to retire by his 30 or before he's 30, and like, he wants to get shit done, okay? People are already saying this guy, after a title defense, is one of the best featherweights of all time and one of the best fighters of all time. I get that he's trying to speed run the UFC. He's very open and honest about his intentions. Like, he wants to retire early, he wants to get in, get out, make the most money amount of possible in that time, knock out the most amount of people, and build up the best resume, and he wants to leave as the GOAT. And honestly, it technically is possible, in my opinion. I mean, this guy went from a year ago being nowhere close to what, the top 50 fighters of all time? Nowhere close. And now all of a sudden, after 2024 alone, this guy cemented himself and everyone's talking like he's top 20. And the thing is, it's hard to argue. You can place him wherever the fuck you want up there, but the point is, he's building an undeniable resume, and I think he just wants to speedrun it, man. I think that's honestly his true reason for wanting to move up to lightweight. I just think that because he's so clear about his intentions, and he knows what he wants, and he knows he's trying to get out here quick, he doesn't want to waste. I mean, how long is the Volk rematch going to take alone when you consider the rest before and after the fight, when you consider the training camp, the preparation, and all this? And again, for a guy like Topuria, who's young and hungry, it's hard to probably get him super motivated for it, you know? I'm not saying that that's going to help Volk's chances when they fight, but what I am saying is that I think it's a real thing, and I think it's a big reason why he's so willing to just give up the belt and just hurry up and move on. Like, okay, what am I going to do? What is Volk and Evloev and Lopez going to do? Because now moving on to like Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, and when you look at it from that perspective, featherweight, one of the most talented divisions in the UFC for sure, and there's great top contenders, but not only name value, but also talent-wise, I would say that lightweight is a superior division. I really do appreciate that he's honest and genuine about it, but I'm going to be real. I think that there needs to be some liability and some responsibility here, man, because he's the fucking champ, okay? And I get it, because some of these champs, sometimes Dana allows them to do whatever the hell they want, and sometimes he doesn't. Depends if he likes you, or how much money you're bringing in, whatever the fuck. Topuria, I'm sure Dana loves the guy, okay? Brings in lots of money, and he's here to do business. He's a high-rate finisher. He's entertaining as hell inside and outside the cage, so I get it, but I don't think Dana's going to be super enthusiastic about the idea. I think he's going to make him face Volk. I mean, Volk did sit out the entire year for this, and even if Dana isn't doing a Stipe thing and just like, I got to put respect on the legend, even if it wasn't for Dana just about Owen Volk, I do think that it's just a thing about Dana's not super enthusiastic about just giving this to Topuria. I think he wants to kind of have him stick around the division at least for another fight or two. I know that Lopez put out a tweet that said like there's at least 3 good fights in featherweight for Topuria, and honestly, I do think that that's the case. In a realistic world, dude, well, not realistic, because that's not what we're getting, but we could just get Volk, like an Evloev or some shit in the right timeline, and then we had just Lopez fight Topuria. Would feed Topuria's cravings to, I feel like, stay at featherweight, kind of get him a bit fired up. It's a fresh challenger and a really dangerous one as that. It's a fight that everyone wants to see. It gives Volk a challenger who's not going to knock him out, because I think Volk could beat pretty much everyone in the division that isn't going to, you know, take his head off. So pretty much, I mean, so basically a Topuria and a Lopez, you know? So like, let's put this guy against Evloev, but unfortunately, we're not going to be getting that, and Volk is genuinely my favorite fighter. I don't mean to be disrespecting him by saying all this shit about how nobody cares about the rematch and how it's hard to get excited for it, and that Volk, you know, he lost a bunch of aura, and I'm not just trying to shit on him, because genuinely the only fighter I have a shirt for, dude. I'm looking at this bullshit in the closet right now, and Volk's an all-time great, but he's getting a win over him, knockout, whatever the fuck. Topuria can do it in 15 seconds, and it's not really going to do too much for his legacy. It's probably just going to be another highlight reel. So as much as I think Topuria does need some responsibility here and does need to stick around the division, let's just fucking get into this of the pros and the cons of, you know, him moving up and him moving down. So I guess the first pro, man, I mean, we could be genuinely witnessing greatness, okay? Not that we aren't already, but if picture if Topuria did move up, okay? Vacates the belt. It's kind of unheard of. Like, yeah, guys, like, will vacate their belt when they have a long-term injury or they're interested in a permanent division move up, and, like, I guess that is Topuria, but for him right now, it just seemed like he was going to stick around featherweight, and I think, like I said, I think that's what's going to happen, but let's just say that he does vacate the belt and move up, and then he beats a Charles Oliveira or a Dustin Poirier, okay? So that right away is some of the best back-to-back 3 wins you can get, because whether he beats an Oliveira or a Poirier, and both of those guys are going to be looking for that fight. Topuria is one of the hottest guys in the UFC right now. His stock is rising every day. He's a big draw, and these guys are not going to be afraid of featherweight, even though it's the best featherweight in the entire world right now, and he is dangerous for sure, presents a lot of problems stylistically for both guys. Great matchups, but I think these guys would be willing to take that matchup. I mean, Oliveira doesn't have many fights left and is looking for a quick path back to the belt. A win over Topuria could do that, and Poirier is looking for a fight or 2 left, and I think that Topuria is a big enough name where he'd be down for that one, and like, it's a great win for the resume, and that's what all these guys want at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's what even Makhachev wants. Like, okay, let's picture, like I'm saying, that Topuria moves up, beats 1 or 2 of those guys or both, beats Makhachev. Let's just say he does. All right, I made a whole video saying that how I would lean towards Makhachev in the fucking fight anyways, but let's just say that Topuria does beat Makhachev. Great fight. And then he goes down back to featherweight, beats the top contender, so maybe like a Lopez or an Evloev, moves back up to lightweight, fights the top contender, whoever that's going to be, and then retires. People would be calling him the fucking GOAT. People would be calling this guy the GOAT, because that's one of the best win streaks, if not the best of all time. I know what we're saying about GSP, John Jones, and you could argue whoever the hell you want to have as your GOAT. Divisional GOAT, whatever the hell. But if somebody really came into the UFC and did that and just retired on top, he'd be what, like 20 to 22-0, undefeated, you know, multiple title defenses in each division, double champ, beating some of the greatest fighters of all time. It would be hard to deny Topuria as at least on the Mount Rushmore, at very not the GOAT, and I think that's what he's looking at again. He's here for a short time. He's here for a good time. He wants to get in, knock people out, and get the fuck out as the GOAT, and if he does this, all right, if he somehow had this path laid out in front of him where he just got to move up and do all these things, go back down, blah, 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 or even just stay up at lightweight. Let's say he didn't even go back down. Let's just say that he stayed up at lightweight but was piling up. Good name after good name, you know, Makhachev, Poirier, Oliveira, Gaethje, Hooker, whoever the hell, Moicano, who gives a shit? Like, whoever's next, you know? Paddy Pimblett, brother, whoever the hell. But honestly, in that regard, I think it is exciting, you know? Like, I'm one of the guys, like I said, I think that Poirier should stick around and defend the belt at least once or twice more at featherweight, but I do get it, man, because it is exciting, you know? Like, we have guys right now like Makhachev and Alex Pereira and like even Ilia Topuria right now. It's exciting to have guys that can finally keep moving up. Like, I feel like we've had the same top 5 or top 10 fighters for the past fucking decade, and you have the exceptional, like, you know, DC will sneak in there, and then Volk will get in there, and now you have guys like these champions that are on the rise right now. They're only, some of them are 1 win away. I mean, Makhachev's 1 win away from me to come in the lightweight go, which again makes it an even more enticing fight for Ilia Topuria, so I get that. And again, you could already argue Makhachev is the lightweight go, but some of these guys, and Pereira as well, like, they're on the cusp, and it's exciting to have new goats. It's exciting to have people kind of crack up there, and we're witnessing greatness in history. And if Topuria really did pull all this off, I mean, who knows, maybe even he could lose to like an Oliveira first time up there, and then all of this is just gone, you know? Goes up, tries to fight Oliveira, loses, and then he's right back at square one featherweight. He's gonna have to fight there for at least a few more times, and then that's gonna fuck up his whole plan basically. But you gotta respect this guy's balls. You gotta respect the confidence. He has a clear vision in his head, and I feel like that's why he's pushing this so hard. But we'll see what the fuck happens. He also just put on Twitter that he really doesn't give a shit and is just gonna fight a featherweight anyway. So this is all hypothetical, man. I'm just here yapping. But I guess going on to the first con is that it's a big fuck you to the contenders in the division. Okay, big slap in the face. I mean, like I said, appreciate that he's honest about it, but I mean, when you're looking at these guys right now, these top contenders, or even a guy who's not very at the top, like an Arnold Allen or whatever, right? Or whoever the hell, prospects rising the rank, whoever the fuck, like, these guys have put their entire lives and careers on the line. Like, this is their dream to become the champ. Some of these guys are fighting like 3 times a year or more, and it's like, well, I know featherweight's not the most active division, so you got to keep that with a grain of salt, but it's like, it is a big fuck you to these guys, because these guys are taking time away for their families, you know? This is their job. This is their dream to win the belt, and when you have Topuria who's kind of, it would be disrespectful as fuck to just feel like, nah, fuck y'all, bro. I just feel like, hey, these guys deserve their shot because it is their livelihood and their fucking dream, and at least give somebody like an Evloev or a Lopez who has deserved it. I mean, Lopez is on an absolute tear, Evloev is undefeated. You could build up both of those fights, you know? You can get people excited for it. And two, I mean, like Lopez said in the tweet, like I said, there's 3 real fights for Topuria right now at featherweight that are not just wild random matchups like him versus Volk. Nobody really wants to see it, but it is what it is. We're getting it, and it is a matchup fair. We also have him versus Evloev and him versus Lopez. And like, other than that, I mean, Arnold Allen would have to keep building up a win streak or some shit like that to kind of like put himself back up there. And maybe if Sterling could beat Evloev, but still, man, the contenders at featherweight are real, and it is a talented division. There is fights for them, and I just feel like it would be very, you know, it's disrespectful as fuck to him, you know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're gonna see what the hell Topuria does with it. So I guess moving on to another pro, I guess kind of transitioning into this one, is that there is admittedly really fun matchups for him at lightweight. If we're just fucking talking selfish here, we're just playing matchmaker or whatever the hell, right? We're just booking these fun fights. Look at the lineup right now, right? I just had, I leave the featherweight rankings up there on the screen, and now I have the lightweights one. The lightweight one, like, not only name value wise is it bigger and more exciting, but it's also just more fun matchups. Like, you're telling me that Topuria versus Poirier, Gaethje, Holloway. Oh, wait, we just saw him knock out Holloway. What the fuck? The fuck am I talking about, dude? Dan Hooker, Mike Connell, like I'm saying, like Pimblett. Like, there's fun matchups from Saryukian as well. I don't know how the fuck I didn't say Saryukian, you know? And at featherweight, don't get me wrong, like, Lopez would be a good fight. Evloev does deserve it. Yair Rodriguez would be super fun. You also got, like, Arnold Allen's and shit. But at the end of the day, that's kind of it. And comparatively, I feel like lightweight is more exciting. I do think that featherweight's great, okay? All due respect, featherweight is elite and it is a deep division, don't get me wrong. But if you're being honest, gun to my head, and if you're asking me, like, which fights would you rather see, I would rather see the ones at lightweight, okay? That's just selfish thinking with my heart. Realistically, like I've said for 1,000 fucking times, I do think that Topuria should stay at featherweight and defend the belt another time or two. I do think that's what should happen, but I'm gonna be honest, man. The matchups are exciting. I get it. Okay, these are wars and bangers and such amazing, well-rounded styles or exchanges on the feet, on the ground, whatever the fuck. And you can say the exact same thing for Topuria about featherweight, but there's a lot of bangers up here, okay? And I guess transitioning into the second con is that it's just gonna slow down the hype of the whole division. I mean, as I'm kind of stating here, like, featherweight is a division that has a lot of elite contenders. You'll recognize a lot of these names and you know how talented the division is, how exciting of performances some of these guys can put on. But at the end of the day, man, with this whole Topuria thing going up to lightweight, or even if he did vacate the belt, whoever gets that belt next, it's going to be a DC and John situation. It's going to be the whole fake champion narrative. Topuria's going to do his own thing, and win or lose, everyone's just going to be, well, win for what I'm about to say, but it's going to just illegitimize the featherweight division, especially whoever's the champion. If it's Lopez, Volkanovski, especially if it's Volkanovski, Jesus Christ, or Evloev, whoever the hell, like, all due respect to Volk, one of the greatest of all time, you know, top 5 pound for pound of all time, and is the featherweight GOAT. But at the end of the day, it's not good for the division if he's winning the belt again, especially if he doesn't beat Topuria for it. If he beat Topuria for it, that'd be a different thing. But if he just wins the belt, a vacant belt over like a Lopez or an Evloev, that would not be good, okay? The whole division, especially Volk, would continue to beat guys. You know, selfishly, as a guy who is a very, very big Volk fan, I would love to see it. Like, I would fucking be down, you know what I mean? Volk is back, baby. Let's fucking go. But I'm aware that in terms of just matchup-wise or draw-wise or shit being fresh for the division, or just, again, making the division seem legitimate and have a real champion, and you know that the guy that is the champion is the very best in that weight class in the world. And if Topuria just let these guys swing it out and do whatever they wanted, the whole fake champ narrative and the whole division being, you know, just not having a real guardian over it, or that's a weird fucking way to word it, but I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, the whole hype of the division would just kind of be slowed down. It would be unfortunate to see because, again, featherweight is one of the better ones, but it is what it is, I guess. Would suck to see that narrative for such talented guys, but I guess we're gonna have to fucking wait and see, man. But I guess at the end of the day, man, this was the Yap Sesh about the pros and cons of if Ilia Topuria should move up. I do ultimately think that it was just kind of Topuria's coach kind of yapping. I think Topuria's a bit of a yapper himself. You know, the Chromies get a little loose sometimes. A lot of the shit that he says, you know, not fight-wise. Fight-wise, a lot of it comes into fruition, okay? Motherfucker put the 15-0 in his bio before the show already went down, okay? Before the pay-per-view trailer even dropped, bro knew he was already the champ, okay? So I'm not talking about it in that regard, but you just gotta wonder if you're gonna trust this, because I feel like all of this talk in the past week or two, but MMA moves quick. We're just gonna end up getting Volk versus Topuria. Topuria is gonna finish him, and that's it at the end of the day. Who knows what's gonna happen after that? Gonna be interesting to see, but you could probably have Diego Lopez and Movsar Evloev run it back. determine a true #1 contender, because if they're just going to do the Volk fight anyways, fuck it, you know? And then lightweight, Islam will fight Saryukin. He'll try and move up to welterweight. I really do hope one day, though, it would be really cool to get a Makhachev versus Topuria, because it is the super fight in the UFC right now, besides like a Jones versus Aspinall. So I get it, and it's great, because those are two of the best in the world right now, and we really, really want to see it. But let's just see Topuria. You know what? I can't even say shit, because I don't know. I'm not Mystic Mac. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Thank you guys so very much for making it far in this video. Let me know your thoughts on what you think below, and I will see you guys next time.